guys, Alabama on the road beats Mississippi State 88-84. They hit 15 threes in the process. They were 48% from the outside. A just glorious performance for Alabama. They've won 4 in a row. These road games, these road wins are really hard to get in the SEC. Mark Sears, their leader, 17 points, 9 assists. Gentlemen, let's talk about it. Goodman, I will start with you and let you weave Mr. SVP and John into this thing. But Alabama, the offense, Nate Oates, they continue to impress her.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing was, how this Mark Sears thing was going to, kind of culminate tonight. And he came out of the gates and was very reluctant to shoot the ball, was all about getting his teammates involved, ended with a pretty good game, right? He had 17 points, efficient shooting, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 7 turnovers, though. But the big thing was obviously he was benched last game in the second half. And how is that relationship? I know that Mark Sears was unbelievable over the last month. Okay, I've seen him in person. He was terrific. But the one thing with Nate Oates is he's got depth, and he's not going to sugarcoat things. If you're lollygagging on defense, and if you're making poor decisions, selfish decisions on offense, which he was doing in the first half of the last game, you're not going to play. And he did it with Cliff Amore too, both of those guys. Well, the difference was I think Cliff probably said something to him at halftime and ended up being able to get back in the game, and then he played hard and played the right way. But there was a talk after the game between Oates and Sears, and he's trying to make sure that Mark Sears is on the right page here, and a guy that's going to lead them to not only getting back to the Final Four, but winning the whole thing, because he knows, and we all know, Alabama's talent from 1 to 9 is better than anybody in the country's. Better than anybody. Yeah. Their upside is high. Yeah, they haven't played that way, and they've still been on a pretty good winning streak here for the most part. And this was a really good win in Starkville.
They're deeper than anybody in the country, I think. Like when I watch them, I mean, Auburn give them a run for the money. Like it's just wave after wave of dudes on those teams. But it's interesting what you said. You used the word leader, and I think that's right. But you also mentioned just like selfish shots. I have no idea how to know what a selfish shot is in Alabama's offense. I really don't.
No
I'm not
kidding.
being cute. It's
kidding.
Like with their analytic approach and their 3-point heavy approach, like it's almost like a bad shot as if you don't take the shot. And there doesn't seem to be any, like the light's green perpetually, I think it's about effort on the other end. And John would know, because Carolina played up tempo and scored tons of points. Just because we play high scoring games doesn't mean we're not checking people on the other end. Like if you don't guard against Bama or Kentucky, they're going to score 120 on you. You know what I mean? So like if it's 90s, that's probably actually a pretty decent defensive effort. So that was the thing I was curious about. And like, I think, how many did Hubbard get tonight for Mississippi State? 1 million.
38.
He went nuts.
Yeah, 38.
God, man, he was pulling from everywhere. But Sears is way too important to not be the guy for them moving forward. That's my perception of it.
He's just not a leader. He's not a big time vocal leader, and I think Nate would have liked to see more from that. And Chris Youngblood, who he thought was going to be the vocal leader and wants to be and has it in him, hasn't played well enough until tonight. Tonight was the first game.
He was good tonight.
Chris Youngblood, and Henson can go from here because he saw him in South Florida, that Chris Youngblood looked like the AAC Player of the Year. 23 points, 7 of 10. He could be their best shooter now that Reitzel's out for the year.
Yeah, USF got poached to oblivion. They lost their 3 best guys, and that's just the nature of the beast that we're in right now. But yeah, Alabama
talking about earlier,
yeah, and there was a play they showed. I guess the play that Coach Oates had brought up where Sears falls on the ground. He kind of gets up slowly, jogs back, and I think that's where he got yanked. And then he said he didn't like his body language. So as a coach, man, you got to make that decision. And if I'm on that team and he's holding Sears accountable like this, I mean, it's only going to get us even more kind of juiced up and ready and want to listen and be a team. If your best player can take that accountability and come out and play like he played tonight. You saw when they were, Coach Oates gave him a pat on the back when he hit a big time three, so that's just part of growing as a team. And don't look now, they've won 12 out of 13, and they're going to need to rack up some more wins because down the stretch they got Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi State again, Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn. So this last stretch for them is going to be absolutely insane. So they need to stack up some wins. I don't know if they get out of this scot-free, but right now they're rolling. And we kind of talked about Alabama earlier in the season. They were still a top 5 rated offense. They were shooting 30% from the three. So this is kind of what Alabama could be and has been lately.
They've won 4 in a row. They've won 4 in a row while teaching Mark Sears a lesson. I think that tells you everything you need to know about where Alabama is right now.